Hello, we're just going to begin in a couple of minutes. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Katie Zazera. I am the Manager of Stakeholder Engagement for Capital Delivery at the MBTA, and I'm joined by the project team for the East Cottage and Norfolk Bridge replacement. This is two bridges on the Fairmont line that we are going to be fully reconstructing. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our project manager, Ahmed Abshari, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the project and what to expect during construction.
Thank you, Katie. Yeah, I'm going to just go ahead and start providing some background about the project, where we are in the process regarding project status, street closure, construction expectations in next few months, and project timeline. And at the end, we are going to provide, we're going to have a question and answer session. So to give you a quick background for the project, these two bridges are built both on around 1906. Both of them are carrying Fairmont Line commuter rail line over East Cottage Street and Norfolk Avenue in Roxbury and Dorchester neighborhoods. MBTA is upgrading these two bridges to improve mainly safety and reliability. Project features and benefits for these two bridges or this project are including removing existing bridges which are at the end of their lifespan, building new steel superstructure for both bridges with an expected lifespan of 75 years, removing speed restriction to eliminate potential service delays, and repainting the community mural on East Cottage Street. So for mainly, if I want to talk about the major scope of the work is that we are replacing superstructure on these two bridges, and we are improving abutment walls on both bridges. During this time, we are going to kind of like, I'm going to talk about details more, but repainting of mural on East Cottage Street is one of the main features of the project that we are going to provide at the end of project. So here's the location or location of these two bridges, which I mentioned. These are in Dorchester, neighborhood in Boston. So we are in the process of, or the general contractor is in the process of prepping the area to start the construction, and also performing some survey on the field activities. And we also send out notice to the abutters around the project for initial pre-construction inspection. And during month of April and June, between the month of April and June, we are going to install micropiles and tiebacks, which the schedule says we are going to install these micropiles and tiebacks at the end of this month and during month of June. Also, our general contractor is going to occupy parcels that are located in Bartlett Street. These parcels are owned by City of Boston and a private owner. These parcels are close to Norfolk Avenue Bridge, and we are going to use these parcels as staging area, material storage, and equipment storage. One of the restrictions for these parcels is that the contractor employees cannot park along Bartlett Street. And also, contractor will be required to secure site during non-working hours. Another staging area that we are going to use is Alexandra Street parcel, which is owned by MBTA and is on the south side of the project, along Fremont Line, just south of Upham's Corner Station. And this is going to be used at the same for same reason, for staging area, material storage, and equipment storage during construction. So this area will have less impact on public because it's along the right-of-way area, and there would be less impact on neighbors and on traffic. So here we are showing example of how we are planning to close East Cottage Street and Norfolk Avenue during construction. We have two plans. We have partial closure, which is happening during week from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we have one-way traffic. We are going to close one lane and allow traffic to pass on another lane. And full street will be available during non-work hours. For full closure, we are planning to close these two streets on 4 weekends. So on East Cottage Street, we are planning to have two weekends closure, full closure from Friday night 9 p.m. to Monday morning 6 a.m. and same pattern or same plan for Norfolk Avenue. For full closure, we have traffic detour plan, which we are having at the end of this presentation. So we can go for information and for more detail, you can access those slides and those details. So the impact on Fairmont line service, there will be no service on those 4 weekends that we are going to shut down the service. And for additional information, please use MBTA or visit MBTA trip planner to find alternate services. So construction expectations during construction phase. Residents will not be able to park under East Cottage Street and Norfolk Avenue throughout the construction. So we are providing that area for a contractor to access to perform their construction, their field activities. So we are having parking ban during construction under and before and after these two bridges on East Cottage Street and Norfolk Avenue. Also, residents can expect nighttime and weekend work, and there'll be no street excavation or impact to utilities during this project. At the end of the project, the mural will be repainted. Contractor also will be monitoring noise using ambient sensitive truck backup alarms. Also, track idling limited to a maximum of 5 minutes, and also limitation on equipment used during nighttime hours. So these are pretty much expectation of what residents can see or can expect during construction in next few months. Project timeline or overview of the project schedule is we summarize this in a table. For time frame, if you want to break down the project schedule, we have during spring and early summer, we have site prep and also survey in the area. During summer and fall, we are going to have geotechnical work on abutments, including micropile and tieback installation. During fall and winter, we are having bridge installation, bridge construction to finalize the work, and also by end of winter and spring, we are expecting to complete the project and move and finish up the work and move out of the area. If anyone has any questions during construction, any concerns, any questions, the email address for the project is eastcottage@mbta, and project website is mbta.com/eastcottage. So for any updates, you can access the project website, and I believe we have that email address also available on project website if you need to send any email. And I think that's it, and I'm going to turn this to Katie Zazera for question and answer or for additional information.
Okay, so again, just to review, thank you again for all your time. We are here to take questions and comments. We just ask that you keep them to 2 minutes in length. If you'd like to verbally make a comment and you called in, feel free to hit *9 on your phone. That will raise your hand. If not, if you're on Zoom, you'll be able to see a little raise hand icon you can click, and we can pick on you to unmute you to speak. We also have a chat function, so if you would rather just type a question, that is available as well, and we can answer those as well. So I do see we have a raised hand. Stefan, I apologize if I say your last name wrong. Wunsch.
Wunsch, yep, you're pretty close.
Wunsch. Oh, okay. Well,
Yep.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks very much. How's my audio, by the way? Sound okay?
Very good.
Okay, excellent. I've got several quick questions, but I'll ask them separately in case anybody else wants to get in. I saw you mention that the Fairmont Line service will be suspended for several, I think it was 4 weekends.
Yes.
For the other time periods when the service will be not suspended, but will be operating, will it be down to single track at some or all of those time periods?
So the short answer is yes. We are planning to have single track for some weekend work while we are installing micropiles between tracks, that we need to have single track operation. But it's also limited to a couple of weekends, but there will be no impact there will be no service shutdown. So there will be single track, but and limited. Might be, I don't know how many weekends, but it's as needed. The contractor can can have access and use it and have a single track.
Okay, then that brings up a question about getting the notice out, because if I'm not mistaken, those adjacent stations to the construction area are all outer platform, all high level with no way for passengers to cross from one side to the other. So that means, if I understand it right, there's a risk that somebody could be waiting for the train on the wrong side unless there's lots of sandwich boards or LED messages. And if the contractor is not sure exactly when the single track's going to happen, isn't there the risk that there's going to be a lack of advance notice to those customers about which side to be waiting?
No,
So
we
if-
have the schedule. We have the schedule of what weekends the contractor should have access to single track, and that's all in the contract and it's all on the schedule. But we are not showing the weekends here because the schedule is kind of like we are at the beginning of project. We don't have that schedule, those weekends out yet, because we are in the process of like finalizing the schedule. But yes, but by the time we get close to those weekends, we have those information coordinated, and also we have that ready so everyone knows that we have single track operation.
And we would coordinate with some of our other teams within the team, particularly customer experience, who help us a lot in situations like this to make sure that signage is appropriate at the station, so that, to your point, customers know which platform to board if that is the case.
Okay, that sounds good. Just then one last suggestion on that topic. Because I believe that line, even in full service, has quite a bit of recovery time on each end of the trip. Perhaps the suggestion could be made to Keolis to look at whether certain additional waiting time at the stations nearest to that project, where it is single track, whether a little bit more dwell time could be given at the station in case somebody is on the wrong side, give them time to run around. Again, that's just a comment.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. That's a great point, actually. We're gonna take note, and we're gonna have that noted to Keolis, and also we're gonna have that communicated and coordinated to facilitate the ridership and also station for passengers. Yep. Thank you.
I can ask more questions, but I'll let somebody else go if anybody
I
else
was going to say, let's see if I don't see any other raised hands or chats. So if you have additional, please feel free.
Okay, thanks. I noticed from that both of these bridges have abutments that originally carried 4 tracks wide. Maybe it was only 3, but it was definitely more than 2 spans at one point when the abutments were constructed. I'm curious if the new abutments are going to be equally as wide to allow for any future expansion, or are the abutments as part of this project going to be strictly for a 2-track service?
I don't know if we went through like different options in design process, but I want to ask, I don't want WSP, which is our designer, see if we have any background information on different spans on this project.
Sure, Hamed. Stefan, you're absolutely right. The bridge does have provisions for 2 additional tracks, which I believe was potential future expansion at the time in the early 1900s that I don't believe ever happened. That expansion was never actually utilized. We will essentially be using the same footprint that is there now. So we will not be adding any expanded tracks, any additional tracks, or widen it more than it is now, because the MBTA was really doing these bridge replacements as footprint replacements, so as to not to have to impact the vertical and horizontal alignment of the track beyond the bridge locations at all, quite frankly, in this case. So we won't be changing any of that. It'll be a footprint replacement. It'll essentially occupy the same space that it occupies now. What will happen is instead of two fracture critical girders supporting each track, which results in a fracture critical structure, which is, gives the MBT, it is a non-redundant structure. We will be replacing it with a multi-girder bridge system, which is a redundant structure, which lends itself much better situation for the MBTA. If one of those girders were to ever be damaged, we don't have to take out the service to fix it. Where in the case that we have right now, the T is vulnerable to that.
Okay, so I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like there's no deliberate design to prevent future track additions. At least you're not going out of your way to prevent a third or a fourth track later. But I totally get that you're not provisioning a third or fourth track now. Yeah, that's clear.
Correct. The abutments are going to essentially stay as they are in terms of the geometry. We're going to strengthen them with vertical micropiles and horizontal tiebacks to meet current statutory loading requirements, et cetera. But the abutment structures themselves that you see now will essentially stay the same, with the exception of an additional precast back wall to get us to the bridge seat that we now need with the new superstructure.
Excellent. Okay. Should I proceed with another question?
Sounds like you're the man.
Okay, cool. On that staging area that is farther south off of Alexander Street, is that for road? I mean, is that for delivery and then transfer to more road vehicles to get around then by road to the site? Or is there going to be transloading onto rail? It looks like in that spot that you mentioned, it looks like that's actually a truck pad. So I'm just curious, it may affect the noise levels for the neighborhood, whether or not it's material being delivered and then going on road up to the bridge site, or if it's delivered and then going by rail from that truck pad up. Do you know what it is?
So it's gonna go, I believe there is no specific terms of how the contractor is going to use this parcel. They can use either way. So we don't specify, because we know that's a local road, but there's no traffic, and we know we are always being mindful of making any extra noise or any extra traffic for the public. But the point of that parcel is that's kind of like optional to the project, because the main staging area that the contractor is going to be using during construction is going to be the Bard Street. But the Alexander Street was available at the time of design, at the time of contract, and we decided to add to this contract to facilitate the project in future. And that's the reason it's been added to the project. But again, they can use that as material delivery and also transporting that as additional storage area for transporting those materials to the project, or using that, loading that on train and bring it to the job site. But the main thing is going to be the material storage and equipment storage. I believe that's going to be both way for both reasons, and both it's going to be used for both ways.
Excellent. I've got just one last question, at least that was my prepared questions. So I go forward with the last one?
Sure.
Okay. I noticed from the Google Street View that the illumination in the area is currently not, unless I'm missing some, there seems to be no street illumination under the bridge spans, and it's the nearest street lighting on poles is a little bit removed from that footprint of the bridge. Is there any provision for adding additional illumination onto the roadway or sidewalks as part of this project?
So I believe I'm not 100% sure about this about the street lighting, but we can certainly look into the project and see if there is any allowance or any item that is that allow us to improve the lighting, street lighting for sure. But on top of my head, just I cannot remember that if that's part of the project. But certainly we can either, if we don't have it, we can add it, or if we have it, we can use it. Philomena, do you have any comment here?
There are no plans to include any lighting as part of this construction project. You know, as you said, Stefan, there aren't any lights there now, so we're doing a bridge replacement project. We didn't consider, you know, the design or the proper lighting of the roadway. But I think, as Hamed said, might be something we could look into and see if it makes sense to incorporate into this project. So I think we can just look into that, make a note and look into that a little further.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I attended all the previous bridge project public meetings as well, and I asked the same question. And it is a consistent plan to replace what is currently there. And in fact, I believe in 100% of all the other bridge replacement projects, it was the same situation. There's no underspan lighting, and that's being maintained, and that's fine. I just wanted to know what the answer was, and that's a good answer. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Well, seeing no other questions and comments, I think we're gonna call it a night with this one.
Actually, I'll just ask. This is a very quickie thing. You mentioned the repainting. I didn't know about the repainting of the murals until tonight. Is there any outreach to the community groups to either try to find the original artists or to have additional input from the community? How is that going to play out?
Yes, we're working with community groups and the legislative delegation. That process is fairly early on because that won't occur until after the construction is complete, but we are going to be working with the neighborhood to make sure it's a local artist and in keeping with the community.
Excellent. That's great. I'm thrilled about that. As you probably noticed from my my name in the Zoom, I'm the co-chair of the MBTA's Rider Oversight Committee. So by all means, reach out to me. Trish knows how to reach me, or you can find me by a quick Google search. If our organization can help with any community outreach or be of any use, by all means, do ask. And I'll let you go back to your families for the evening. Thank you very much. This was time well spent.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Stefan.
All right, have a great night, everyone. We thank you for your time.